Okay, so I just had a nice chat with the woman who's walking away, and it got cut off because it ran out of time on the half-hour time slot, so I don't know how much of it was recorded. So I will say the last thing she said, which wasn't recorded, was that my first mistake was joining any church, period. So, you know, she might have a point there. But yeah, we discussed, she's taken photos, so hopefully she'll put those up on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or something. But yeah, we discussed, you know, the issues around how the Unitarian Universalist Association hired a Stikeman Elliott defamation lawyer to accuse me of blasphemous libel in an effort to hide pedophilia and rape. And, you know, she understood how ridiculous that was, as most reasonable people do. I also discussed how in December of 2000 I was arrested for allegedly violating section 176.3 of the Canadian Criminal Code, which prohibits disrupting the order and solemnity of church services. And it's a law that's obviously intended to, you know, punish people or dissuade people from actually disrupting church services. In other words, you know, it's basically a law that's saying, you know, if you're in a church service, or if there's a church service going on in the building and you go into that and disrupt it, well, then you're guilty of an offense. But, you know, as she picked up right away, well, you're outside. I said, well, yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. So it was an abusive misuse of this law in an effort to punish me and, you know, shut down my protest. And I was acquitted when the Crown prosecutor couldn't prove a single one of the 4 or 5 points of law he had to prove beyond reasonable doubt to obtain a conviction. So just a total waste of SPVM resources and a total waste of the criminal justice system spread over 3 years, because it took about 3 years to be acquitted. Several court dates spread over 3 years, but I enjoyed myself. It was a learning experience, and I got to basically show what idiots certain Unitarians are, including Jeremy Searle, who was one of the prosecution witnesses. And I believe it was Jeremy Searle who, in case you don't know it, was until recently an NDG city councillor. Jeremy Searle wrote letters to the police, you know, demanding that they do something. I don't know if he specifically demanded that they arrest me, but he clearly wrote letters to the police demanding that they do something to, you know, shut down my protest. And he was one of the prosecution witnesses, so he lobbied the police. So here's this, you know, Montreal politician lobbying the SPVM to do something, you know, to shut down my protest. So they finally caved to the pressure and had me arrested on a bullshit criminal charge, which I was later acquitted of. But see, that's the problem, is that the SPVM, you know, they basically make these mistakes of acting on bullshit complaints brought against me by Montreal Unitarians, you know, and then I have to defend myself, and of course the SPVM doesn't come out of it looking very good, really. And yeah, we're actually in a similar situation today, where the mayoress of Côte-de-Neige, Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, Sue Montgomery, who is, or at least was, a Montreal Unitarian, who's certainly still a sympathizer of the Unitarian Universalist Church, and is certainly still trying to help Unitarians conceal clergy abuse of all kinds, but more specifically helping the Unitarian Universalist religious community to conceal pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers and Sunday school teachers, etc. Sue, in December of last year, December 11th specifically, had me arrested for alleged criminal harassment of her. And essentially Sue is trying to pretend that my peaceful public protest is harassment of her. She's trying to pretend that asking her questions at city council meetings and election events. So there's a positive honking a fist in the air as a car going by. So that's definitely a supportive